Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Unquestionably Raw podcast. Tonight, we're previewing the Houston Rockets' upcoming 2016-2017 season. Joining us tonight are two very special guests. We've got former NBA point guard and beloved Houston Rocket. We've got Moochie Norris. And we've also got Mr. Curtlow of SpaceCityScoop.com. Of course, you all know Byron, Gonzo, Matt, and myself. So we're going to roll right into the first question. And Moochie, I'm going to you. So looking at the Houston Rockets and their roster, they added some new additions during the summer. So basically, what do you think of guys like Ryan Anderson, Nene, Eric Gordon, and just kind of what they're going to bring to the Rockets this season?
As usual, the Rockets, they're always looking for three-point scoring. So I think that was the reason for going out and get Eric Gordon and Ryan Anderson. Some known three-point threats out there from, various teams in the league. Nene is going to definitely bring some inside force down there on the paints because you're losing Dwight Howard. You need another big body to come in and fill in for him. And I think Tyler Ennis is going to come in and play well for him. I think he's going to be a quiet a sleeper this year for the Rockets. But mainly, I think their biggest thing was getting Ryan Anderson there and Gordon, somebody that can come out and shoot the three ball, because we know D'Antonio wants to get up and down and play fast. And there's going to be a lot of shots going up, a lot of threes. 7-8 second shot clock I'm looking at. It's going to be really interesting to see because they're doing that, adding shooters, but it looks like they're going to be starting Harden at the point. So that's going to be interesting.
Absolutely. Curtlow, what's your thoughts, man?
This is the thing. Houston Rockets were 19th in three-point shooting last year, but they ranked second in three-point attempts, okay? The formula is simple, and this is the same thing with LeBron James. You surround Harden and LeBron James with elite three-point shooters, especially with the system that they write out. Mm-hmm. Remember, Eric Gordon was second in three-point shooting 2 years ago, and Ryan Anderson is a 40% career three-point shooter. So as long as you understand that Harden averaged 7.5 assists per game last year, and that's all the misses that they were doing. They couldn't make a shot last year. Sometimes you look at it and say, man, all these three-point shots we shooting, we couldn't make nothing. Okay, now I'm looking at Nene. Do I want Montrezl Harrell backing him up, or do I want Nene backing up Capella? And I look at this like the way Nene's playing right now. I want him backing up Capella, but Montrezl Harrell needs to be playing in this NBA game. He is an exciting player to watch. Everything that I've seen from Montrezl Harrell, I want him on the court because he does all the little things that nobody else wants to do on that court. He should have been what's his name? Pablo Pigiano. I think he's going to be a great point guard behind James Harden. I'm not sure on Tyler Ennis. I have to see more.
Okay. Byron, what's your thoughts on some of the new additions for the Rockets?
It's typical, like Houston Rockets. It's very typical of them to bring in like the three-point shooters. I like Anderson. I hope he can be consistent. Nene, we know he's not the Nene of old, but he's going to get rebounds. He's going to play defense. He's going to be a presence. And, Gordon, not the Gordon that we once knew. But I think he's still a decent player, I like to see what Ennis does if he plays. And, this guy, I know, I hope that I would like to see him get some minutes, but I like Peyton's offspring, man. He looks like he's going to be an exciting guy to watch. And I know Houston, I think he's somebody also that they would love to see play. How he fits in, I don't know. But, we'll see what happens with this new coach and the offense that they run. So,
okay. Gonzo, what's your thoughts?
I'm pretty excited about the Houston Rockets. This is one of my up and coming kind of favorite teams. I like the fact that they added Ryan Anderson, a stretch four, who can shoot the three. I like Eric Gordon; he can shoot the three, and I think he can still slash a little bit if need. I like Tyler Ennis, a good young backup point guard. I like a couple of other pieces of the bench. I like Corey Brewer. They still have Trevor Reza. They got KJ Daniels. So they got some guys who can kind of lock up a little bit on defense too. So I don't think that they're going to be one of those teams where people don't think can play defense. I think they actually can play defense if need to, because they definitely have the roster for it. I like Nene, part of the roster, especially coming off the bench. And Harold, I think, from Louisville. I think the guy has a great motor to be a great rebounder and get you probably 10 and 10. I think he could be that type of guy. The question is, will he get those minutes that Nene is here now? I don't know how that's going to work out, but I like the signing of D'Antoni. I like the movement of point guard with Harden going to point guard. We might be seeing like a Houston Rockets. We might see like kind of like a Phoenix kind of offense, but I think it might be better due to the fact that kind of has a bigger body than than Steve Nash. So I think it just kind of works out a little bit better. I'm seeing the Rockets, man, pretty high, man, in the West.
Okay. Matt, what you got, man?
I love the pickup of Ryan Anderson, and just watching the preseason game the other day, he's going to get a ton of open looks with the way D'Antoni's going to run this offense. That whole 7 seconds or less thing that he liked to do when they were in Phoenix. And he's been a consistent career 3-point shooter. Nene, he'll be a good rebounder for him. He's going to do some dirty work, play a little defense. He'll knock down that medium range setup shot. Eric Gordon, I'd like to see him start, but I think he'll probably stick with Pat Beverly in that starting lineup. But Eric Gordon, I think, can provide them a lot of points off that bench if he can stay healthy, though, because we know he's had the injuries throughout. Since he left the Clippers, he's just been injury prone. And Tyler Ennis, I'd like to see him get a chance. He was, in college, very good point guard at Syracuse. So it'd be nice to see him get a chance. I think D'Antoni will probably go with Prigioni at first. But if he can't get it done, I think then you got to give Tyler Ennis a shot.
Absolutely. And I think one of the sleepers that Byron mentioned is Gary Payton second. And I think Gary Payton's going to push his athleticism compared with KJ McDaniels. Corey Brewer can get up and run. You've got Trevor Ariza as a defender. So they've got guys that can defend, very athletic. Basically, Prigioni can mentor Tyler Ennis and Gary Payton II throughout the season, and then he can kind of retire after the season. But just being there as a mentor is really going to help them. With Eric Gordon, obviously health is first. He can shoot it. He's going to be a good six-man role. James Harden, we all know he's going to put up points, so no worry there. Then you've got a guy in Ryan Anderson who's going to see the most open looks he's seen in probably at least 3 or 4 seasons, because playing in New Orleans, he was not getting any kind of open looks like he's going to see in this basically 7 seconds or less offense. And then Nene, all he has to do is bang down low, get rebounds, play on the defensive end. Montrezl Harrell, I like him a lot. Very good motor guy. Gonzo, you said it, 10 and 10. I could very realistically see that. The question mark is going to be Donatas Motiejunas, what they do with him, because they cannot agree on contract terms right now. Basically, his agent is shopping him to teams, but he is a restricted free agent, so the Rockets can match. Mike D'Antoni said that he wants him to back up the power forward spot, which would take minutes from Harrell, but at the same time, I think Harrell has a little bit more upside long term, so definitely want to see him.
But Demo fits pretty good in this offense too, because he can stretch the floor with his 3-point shooting.
He does, but the back injury that he had last season that the Pistons flagged him for, that's the question mark that I think a lot of teams are looking into to see where those concerns kind of came about on the Pistons end, and why the Rockets didn't see those concerns necessarily. So that actually segues us right into the second question. And Moochie, I'm going to go to you. So the Rockets obviously hired Mike D'Antoni this offseason to coach the team. He's one of the best offensive coaches. But basically, what do you see just overall? Do you think he's going to keep that 7 seconds or less plan for the offense? And just how much defense do you think that associate head coach Jeff Bzdelik could get out of this team, especially James Harden?
On the offensive side, we know D'Antoni is one of those guys. I mean, he's one of the best ever of getting the offense motivated, getting them going, and playing at a high level. I think, last year, the Rockets struggled defensively. I don't think they struggled the last few years offensively. At times they struggled to get buckets, but I think getting more shooters around Harden is definitely going to make things flow a little smoother. Whether they go to 7-8 seconds, I'm not sure as much. I went to the preseason game and I watched them. They walked it up quite a bit, because Harden had it right away. But when the ball came off the rim, they were getting up and down and they were shooting some early threes. And I think they're definitely going to continue that. So, I think at times they'll slow it down and allow Harden to do his thing. But I think they'll still play fast. I mean, that's just his offensive system. As far as the defense goes, defense is all heart. I don't care who it is. It's just all heart to me. You got to have desire to play defense. And they have 3 guys that we know are just defensive-minded players. Beverly, Ariza, and Brewer. They're defensive-minded players. And bringing in Nene as a threat down there in the post, being able to defend one-on-one down there. So I think defensively, they'll be all right. They just got to be committed to it. And that's going to come from Harden, putting forth his effort on the defensive end, because being that good offensively, you have to be able to defend somebody. You just can't be an offensive-minded person. And we look at some of the greater players that play this game, they can play defense.
Absolutely. Curtlow, what's your thoughts on the offense and the defense?
Moochie Norris is 100% right. The offensive rating last year was 7, okay? That's not bad. That's actually in the top 10. You know what I'm saying? The defense was the problem. It was the bottom 5 defense last year. And it had a lot to do with Harden and Dwight Howard at the same time. They gave up the most offensive rebounds per game than any team in the NBA, okay? Also, James Harden last year, and I noticed in the first half of the season, he didn't play a lick of defense. Not one bit. I seen this guy. I'm sitting here yelling. I'm in the 3rd or 4th row, and I'm sitting here yelling at this guy, what are you doing? He's not even watching his man. You know what I mean? If one guy breaks down on defense, the whole team defense is gone. And then Dwight Howard was no better because he gave up on the Rockets last year, and I noticed that, okay? He had one of his worst career of everything, from points to rebounds to blocks to steals, whatever it was horrible. So the defensive minded. Now, when I say defensive guys, Moochie Norris is 100% right. Trevor Ariza is an excellent defender that can guard 1 through the 4. Patrick Beverly was 2nd team all defense 2 years ago. KJ McDaniels is a former defensive player of the year for the ACC. Okay. And then you got Montrezl Harrell, who is 6'7" with a 7'4" wingspan. Okay, he can get up there and block shots. Capella, I would be watching Capella everywhere because he was better on the floor than Dwight Howard last year. Okay, and then on and off numbers are Connaughton. I wouldn't be surprised to see Capella in the top 5 in blocks per game, rebounds per game, and top 5 in defensive rating. Okay, understand, and they got their coach Milzick. You know what I mean? It's going to be a good defensive team. It's all about what players are you going to put out there to make sure that this is going to be a good defensive team to counter the offense that we're going to have on the floor. And KJ McDaniels, I understand this. KJ McDaniels is ready to break out. I'm ready to see him on the floor because he really does a great job next to James Harden. He's the guy that can guard 1 through 4. And in all actuality, I think he's better than Trevor Ariza on defense right now.
Wow, okay. Byron, what's your thoughts?
Well, when D'Antoni coached the Suns, I really enjoyed watching them play. I like the offense. But, we talk about that second thing and the whole, shooting threes. And sometimes it gets a little scary because you live by that, you die by that. And I would see his teams get, huge leads, and then sometimes they would blow them. But I think, like Moochie said, too, and I think the defense is really the problem with the Rockets. And getting the leader, which is Harden, committed to playing defense. I think if your leader plays defense, everybody else will get out and hustle. Like you see with other teams like the Cavs, and LeBron leads that defense with that defensive mind, and then the rest of the players, they follow suit. I think it kind of sucked to see this team go from being in the conference finals the previous year to being an 8th seed and playing the Warriors, again in different circumstances. And I think it was largely in part because of defense. I like to see what happens this year and what they can do because, like Moochie said, I think Howard had already checked out mentally. He was gone. He knew he wasn't. He looked pretty lethargic. Didn't like he was showing a lot of effort. The key to that, James Harden must lead and play and show that heart on the other end. And if he can do that and commit to that, then everyone will follow suit, I think. And you have that veteran leadership, or like Trevor Ariza. He knows what it takes to win. He knows how to play defense, and he has a lot to teach, like the younger guys that are coming in. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, Gonzo.
Offense will be fine. Obviously, I was going to get. It was 7th last year, and I was just told. So they'll probably be maybe top 5 this year. Defense again. I forgot 2 people. Thanks, Moochie. About him, I didn't even know Harold. I always knew he had a good motor and he was a good defense guy. I didn't know he had a 7'4" wingspan. So I didn't mean to forget Pat Beverly at all because he is one of the elite defenders in the NBA. They got like I said, KJ McDaniel. They have Nene. They got a lot of defensive guys on this team. And Tyler Ennis is young, but he's kind of lengthy to be a point guard. I think he has nice size, so I think they can use that. And I think that James Harden's biggest problem is I don't think he can't play defense because when he plays against really, really good point guards, it seems like he looks better against them at times than he does just on just playing a regular guy on any night. But like I said, man, I see Houston. Honestly, and I'm saying this early, I'm going to say I see Houston as number 3 seed in the West.
Damn.
Wow.
Okay.
Nice.
All right, Matt. So I want to hear your thoughts.
Offense, like Gonzo said, and everybody else, Moochie, Curtlow, the offense is going to be just fine. It's going to be better this year, actually, than last year because you've got more shooting. And just D'Antoni's system works, and he's got the pieces to make it work on this Rockets team. Defensively, they've got really good individual defensive players. Ariza, you got KJ McDaniels, Pat Beverly, Nene, Corey Brewer, Capella, Harrell, all those guys, good individual defenders. But like Moochie, you got to get Harden to buy in. And if he really wants to win a championship, I think he will because he's capable. We've seen it. He can play good on-ball defense. But then you see the moments last year. It was in the playoffs against Golden State. Harrison Barnes just gives nice basic rip through. Harden standing straight up on D, and Barnes just blows right for him for the easy dunk. And then Harden looks at Dwight Howard like, "Where's my help?" But I guess that's why. Part of the reason why I think Howard kind of checked out is like, bro, you're not doing your job, and you blame every time you're not playing defense. You look at all of us. You can't do that. He's got to be the leader on both ends of the floor. And D'Antoni and Bizdelic have got to hold him accountable on defense. Don't just let him get away with it because the other players are going to see that. So I think if Harden buys in and he's willing to give the effort defensively, I think they have the potential to be really good on the defensive end. And they weren't bad a couple years ago when they went to the conference finals. They caused a lot of problems for teams.
Mm-hmm. Offensively, I think having that perimeter shooting is going to help a lot. They're going to go up, I think, even more. As far as an offensive team. So I could see them definitely top, 3 finishing, as an offensive team. Defense is where they're going to have to show the commitment as a team. And basically, as a team, they're going to have to fill the gap of Dwight Howard, who averaged 8.4 defensive rebounds per game last year. Combined last season, Nene and Ryan Anderson only averaged 7. So they're going to have to improve. Capella, he's going to improve. He's going to be able to take some of that rebounding load off of, kind of away from what they did with Dwight Howard. And the thing about the Rockets is, basically we all know the butt of the jokes with James Harden. If he can just be a marginal defender, just be a team defender and commit on that end, they'll be okay. They gave up many points in transition last season, and they gave up the most second chance points than any other team, basically in the NBA. So they're going to have to fix those. Basically, it's just about paying attention, putting an effort in, and becoming one of those elite teams. It doesn't happen overnight, but with the team effort, they're definitely going to be able to make some strides and be a lot better this season. So it starts and ends with James Harden. If he can commit, Matt, just like you said, the other players are going to see that. and they're either going to step up more or they're going to turn on Harden and hold him accountable. So it'll be interesting to kind of see what happens to start the season. That rolls into question number 3. So, Moochie, what do you think the Rockets what do you have them as far as finishing in the Western Conference expectations-wise?
I can see them in that third, fourth spot, somewhere around there flirting with it. Like I said, how good they be is going to be based on their defense. I think that's just going to be the key to their season. If the Rockets are playing defense and rebounding and getting stops, they're going to be fine because they can score in bunches. And like I said, adding the other outside guys, you know, the Arsenal just got better on their offensive end. And then with Harden, you know, having the ball, dominating the ball with the intentions of making plays as opposed to just scoring, I think that'll be big because, like you said, 7 assists for a guy that scores the way he is great. You know, it's getting more and more like, you know, more like a LeBron with a greedier attitude offensively, you know. And if he can get those assists up, he may end up averaging a double-double, just having more shooters and more guys around him that can finish around the rim. You know, like you said, him, Harden, and Dwight not getting along caused a lot of problems on both ends of the ball. And you know, Dwight, you know, wanted him to guard better. Harden wanted him to help better. So you know, with those two, your two top guys getting into it, it doesn't do well for the rest of the team. And I think that's what brought everything to a demise last season. But they're going to be atop the division because they're going to score points. James is going to be James, and I just think he's going to make the other guys around him better. He shot the ball a little more last year than he had to a season ago, but, you know, when nobody else is doing it, you're not getting what you want from your inside guys, and you got to do it that way. But they're going to be built on that perimeter, shooting threes and playing fast, so they'll still end up in the top 3 or 4 by the time it's all said and done.
Okay. Curtlow, what's your expectations for the Rockets in the Western Conference this year?
Oh, he's gone.
I think he stepped away. So we're going to move to Byron. We're going to go to you, and we'll go back to Curtlow.
Okay. I would like to see Harden in his role as a facilitator. You know, my expectations for the team. When you look at with all the changes that have taken place in the Western Conference, I say maybe like they finish 5th in the conference. That's what I think will happen. I think that they'll have a decent season.
Okay.
They'll have a pretty decent season.
Okay. Gonzo, you already told us a little sneak peek, but give us a little bit more. Give us a little bit more meat on the bone on why you think they're going to finish.
I said number 3 because, first of all, I looked at the coach. I looked at the players, the defensive players ahead, the shooters that they've added. And if we're just looking at the roster right now, it's just predictions. They're better than the Clippers roster. They're better than Portland Trailblazers roster. They're better than the Utah Jazz roster. And especially now that Gordon Hayward just went down with an injury. They're better than Sacramento. They're better than Phoenix. I don't see any reason why they can't make a 3rd seed spot. I don't see why they can't be better than the Clippers. The only teams I have maybe above them, like I said, is San Antonio and the Golden State Warriors. Those are the only 2 teams I can honestly legit say on paper they look better. I can't see another team in the Western Conference that looks better than them. And make no mistake about it. I had to go back and revise after we did the top 25 show. I had to revise my top 25 list. I had to look at something for a second. I had Russell Westbrook at like number 7 or something like that. I had to change that because I had to go back and look at James Harden. And let's go back to, and not to go change the subject a little bit, but just a little bit. Let's go back to when OKC went to the championship and they played Miami. Who really won and helped them get to that finals like that? Honestly, let's look at that San Antonio series. It was James Harden who was the difference. It was not Russell Westbrook. And was James Harden being a point guard with him and KD on the floor that took them to the NBA Finals. It wasn't him just scoring, which he did do a good job of that as well, but he was a good facilitator in that series. I always thought that James Harden and Kevin Durant could win more championships than Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant. That just goes to show you how important I think James Harden is as a facilitator. He draws so much attention. And the good thing about James Harden is that he can shoot the three, but even when his shot is not falling, he can get to that line and score 10 to 15 points from that line at any point in the game. When he's called upon, he can get those points. And to average 29 some points a game last year and still come up with 7.5 assists, I think he averaged close to 2 steals. That's kind of elite status. Like, we can't overlook that. You know, and now they just gave him a few more shooters, and they got like I said, they added a defensive guy and Nene. Like I said, they always had Corey Brewer. They got Pat Beverly. Hey man, the sky is the limit for this Rockets team.
Absolutely. So Matt,
I'm happy to hear you say that, and you're not even.
I think they can finish as high as 3. I think that's absolutely a possibility. I'm gonna go with where Byron's at, though. I think they're gonna finish 5th. That's where I've got them right now. That could all change now, of course, because with Gordon Hayward out for 6 weeks, so that puts him December. He won't be back. The Jazz, they get off to a slow start. There's one team a lot of people have in the top 4. I still like Oklahoma City, even though they did lose and to the overseas group. But I still like Oklahoma City at 4. But I right now 5 for the Rockets.
All right, that brings us to Curtlow. What's your expectations this season for the Rockets? Where do you have them finishing in the West?
Well, I agree with Matt. Probably 5th. This is what I have. Golden State number 1. We all know that's just going to be a massacre all team. Anybody they play is just going to be terrible for the watch, because your team is going to lose by a bunch of points. The San Antonio Spurs 2nd, 3rd the Clippers. I got the Grizzlies at 4th if they stay healthy, and then I have the Rockets at a 5th. But it's kind of a toss-up between those two. Now I see a difference in the offense. Okay. Last year, everybody was just standing around watching Harden pass the ball. Just everybody standing in the corner and letting him facilitate. He was using a lot of energy while he was doing that. I believe he played the most minutes per game, but more than anybody, or second. But what was going to say is that when James Harden, when you see the offense, now the chemistry looks good. Now the offense, everybody's moving, setting picks in the preseason game I've seen. And it's just a whole different team. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, if everybody stays healthy, but that's the big wild card. Can Eric Gordon, can Ryan Anderson stay healthy?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Patrick Beverly, he's been injured every year. You know what I'm saying? He for some reason he's not ready to get injured. If they can all stay healthy, I see this team 4th or 5th in the West.
Okay. I've got them right around, I would say, completely healthy. Minimal injuries, because there's going to be something. Minimal injuries, they could finish 4th. Bottom floor is if they struggled with injuries, anything like that, I could see them 6th. I don't see them missing the playoffs. I've read a lot of people say, well, it's Mike D'Antoni's system, they don't play defense. Think about the other side of that. Look what they have on offense. That's going to carry them to where they blow out a lot of teams. Then, Gonzo, you also brought up people mentioned Utah. Gordon Hayward's out for 6 to 8 weeks. That is Utah. Him and Derek Favors, are basically the key to Utah. So that you're going to have to look at guys like Rodney Hood and some others to step up big for them to even get in the playoffs, let alone, get an upper seed in the playoffs. Teams like Phoenix, they're still a little bit young and raw. New Orleans, they're going to have injuries, or they have injuries with Tyreek Evans. Drew Holiday's out with his wife. Hopefully she recovers well. And then you've got Quincy Pondexter coming back from injury. So they've got, question marks there. Denver Nuggets, Minnesota Timberwolves, up-and-coming team. So they may or may not make the playoffs. So Houston's pretty much got it. And really, I have Memphis pretty high because I really, really believe David Fizdale's philosophy of really being there as a mentor and a premium coach, and I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. And I think Zach Randolph coming off the bench is going to be a big plus for them. So I'm high on them. The Clippers, I think they take a step back. I just don't think that they have what it takes. I think we've seen all that they can max out to be. And Portland, I think, took a step back getting Evan Turner. Honestly, I've never been a big Evan Turner guy. I am a 76ers fan. So I got to see plenty of Evan Turner over the beginning of his season. He was a point guard coming out, and he may help them, but I think injuries there with Portland, with Festus Ezeli, Myers Leonard, are going to kind of be detrimental to them to begin the season, as well as they face the bigger Western Conference team. So Houston's going to be right there. That segues us. We've been talking a lot about James Harden, so I want to segue into the next question. Moochie, I'm going to you first. Basically, do you think that James Harden will win the MVP this season? As obviously, he's going to be one of the league leaders in scoring, but will that be enough? Do you think he has a chance to be MVP?
I think it depends on the wins and losses, how well the team plays. Because, in my honest opinion, he was, he was a candidate last year. He had a chance to win it. But when you're 41-41, you don't, it's hard to win the MVP when you're not winning games because you're just playing well. And I think that was the difference. That's what gave Stephen Curry the edge last year, was his team was the best team. So I think it's just going to be that simple. It's not going to be controversial or anything like that. I think it's just going to be how well the team plays, because he had numbers. He had MVP numbers last year. We can't say enough about how good he is with the ball in his hand. I heard someone say earlier that, you could just put the ball in his hand, and if his shot not going, he can get to the free throw line and get you 10, 15 points. Everybody can't do that. Everybody in this game can't do that, but some of the best scorers to ever play, they average around 10, 11 free throws a game. And that's going to be big moving forward for them, because when they're not scoring, he'll make plays going to the basket and get those guys in the bonus. And, with the shooters you have, I think there'll be a better free throw shooting team this year as well. But it's just as simple as that. How high they finish in the division will tell if he has a chance at the MVP or not.
Okay, Curtlow, do you think Harden has a chance for MVP?
I'm still mad about 2 years ago when he should have won the MVP. The season he had that there. But you know what? The man had a better season this year than he had last year. And he wasn't even on an all-NBA team. Somebody explain that to me, because I still don't understand.
That makes two of us.
He was 6th in assists per game last year. I think he was 2nd or 1st in rebounds per game as a shooting guard. And he was 2nd in points per game. Now, understand this. Everything rides on James Harden, okay? And Moochie Norris is exactly right when he says it's all about wins and losses. The media is the one who does the MVP, okay? So whoever has the most wins, and that's how they judge it by. Whoever has the most wins gets the MVP. Whoever's the best player on that team gets the MVP. Okay, that shouldn't subject from somebody who just pulled a team with all the injuries with all the injuries they had 2 years ago. That shouldn't affect him. Will he be in the conversation with MVP? Oh, there's no doubt he's going to be in the MVP, because Dan Antonio is going to pad this guy's stats. Okay, he's going to average 10 assists per game. He's going to go. He might even average less points than he averaged last year, just because he's going to get more assists in the game, and they're not going to call so much on him. And anybody that tells you that a man that drives to the lane and averages more free throws than anybody else in the league and makes more free throws than anybody else is a problem to a team, they don't know what the hell they talking about. Any GM, any coach will take that in a heartbeat. You know why they don't like it? Because he's not on his team. Just like Michael Jordan wasn't on your team. You know what I'm saying? That's why you hate him.
Okay. So, Byron, I'm going to you. MVP for Harden, yes or no?
I don't know. It really depends on it depends on him. One thing that I had to say about Harden is I felt like he had so much to prove, because he was a sixth man with OKC, and Gonzo was right. I told Matt back then, I said, there's no way this guy should not be starting. And I think you sometimes, no offense, Moochie, you get that Tracy McGrady syndrome where it's like, you've been playing behind Vince Carter for so long, but you're better, and you have physical attributes that make you a better player, like length, and height makes you see over defenders and whatnot. And I think that James Harden initially came to the Rockets with that Tracy McGrady syndrome, like, let me prove to y'all that I'm just as good as Russell. I'm just as good as KD. Like, I'm worthy. I'm a leader. They should have paid me. And he did well. I think sometimes he was a little excessive. Meaning, you would think that, and he's a young guy, you would think that he would coexist with Dwight Howard. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. But what concerned me about him was when I started to think, like, okay, maybe he's not focused. Never did you see Michael Jordan or team leaders like him, their relationships were highlighted. What I mean? People were talking about more about theirs. Like when he was dating Khloe Kardashian, I was just kind of like, I don't know if he's really focused because you know what I mean. We know how attention that family is, and that relationship just really worried me about him. And when you do things like that off of the court, and when you make those decisions to date people like that, I don't know her personally, but I felt like she was a distraction. It really concerned me about him. And he's a young guy. If he can, show some maturity, and if he's learned from his past mistakes, then I think the sky's the limit for him. And if he really buys into the system, listens to D'Antoni, they have a better record, I don't know why he won't be in that consideration. I got to go with my man earlier. Harden should have been MVP 2 years ago because the Rockets weren't even supposed to make it to the Western Conference Finals. He should have one of Steph's trophies. Can he do it? It's up to him.
James Harden MVP, absolutely. I think he should already have one. Had one by now. I question something about the NBA now though. When I used to see guys win MVPs back then, it wasn't so much. Yeah, their teams were winning, but they didn't always have. A lot of these guys won MVPs and didn't really have great teams, and they were making it to the playoffs, and they were still getting MVP trophies. Now it's this thing where guys are getting trophies because they're on the best team with the most amount of wins, but these teams have several all-stars. And what does the term most valuable player really mean? Example. You got Miami with Chris Bosh, D. Wade, Shane Battier, Mike Miller, Udonis Haslem. You got a team full of guys who were defensive stars or, guys that were stars on other teams, right? Other players on other teams, right?
Yeah.
LeBron gets there and has a career year. And they say, he scored his high shoot percentage in the post is 60% this year. And it's like, but it would be easy playing with somebody like Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Shane Battier, who can shoot the three, play defense on the other end with you. Ray Allen on the other end. Ray Allen shoot threes. So you got a lot of space to work with. It makes your game a lot easier. Same thing for Steph Curry. Steph Curry puts up these godly numbers shooting wise, lead league of points and all this stuff here. And he's getting MVP trophies back-to-back years. But let's look at Steph Curry's team. He's playing with Andre Iguodala, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, like I said, 2 other All-Stars. He's playing with Andrew Bogut, good defensive center. They have a great coach. But somebody like James Harden doesn't get the just due him because he's on a team with guys who are not really – let's make no mistake about it. Dwight Howard is not on the superstar status of James Harden now. He's not. And when he was playing with James Harden, no, he was not superstar status. Make no mistake about that. So why isn't he more valuable to his team? Because I can take Steph Curry Steph Curry right now off of Golden State. And I can bet they can still make the playoffs. I can take James Harden off the Rockets, and they might not sniff the playoffs. Who's more valuable now? James Harden would be. So the point I'm trying to make is that to me, James Harden is absolutely a most valuable candidate. If they get the 3rd seed and he can put a double-digit in assists, I know he's going to get the points. He averages a legit double-double. They get in that top 3 in the West, absolutely MVP.
Mm-hmm. Right. Matt, I'm going to you.
I think he can win it, but the key is we know how the criteria is now. You got to at least win 50 games. You got to finish top 4. If you don't do that, then you're not winning the MVP. So I think it really depends on the team's success because he's going to put up numbers. His numbers are going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if he's 28, 10, and 7 this year. And those are MVP type numbers. But if they don't win 50 games and they're not in the top 4, they're not going to vote for him.
Exactly. Everybody's pretty much said the same point I was going to make. With Harden, I mean, another thing to look at is with Golden State, everybody looks at, oh, man, Durant or Steph Curry, one of them is going to be the MVP. No, because there's not enough shots to go around. They're not putting up 29 points a game, one of the league leaders this season. There's going to be too many shots to go around. The percentages are going to go down. Yes, the team's going to win. But, Gonzo, perfect point that you made. What is exactly defined as a most valuable player? What do you bring the most to your team? And you brought up the best point you could bring up with take James Harden off that team. They don't even make the playoffs. They're nowhere around the playoffs, in my opinion. James Harden brings that much on the offensive end. I just want to see it on the defensive end and bump those assists up just a little bit. And I think he can now that he has shooters on the team. He doesn't feel like he needs to take every single shot, for them to be competitive. So that's definitely going to be, something that the Rockets are going to push. They want him to be the MVP. It's about time the Rockets get out of that fraudulent zone and get some key recognition for something other than getting, bounced in the playoffs. So, and the Dwight Howard drama. So, Moochie, going to you. Give me it doesn't have to be 3 keys, but if you have 3, that's fine. But give me some keys that you think will make or break the Rockets season. It could be good or bad.
Defense, and defense.
Yes.
I think it's just gonna be that simple. I mean, like we said, we all been saying the same thing, that they can score points. They have one of the best scorers in the game right now, if not one of the best, top 5 players in my opinion. But if they don't defend, it's not going to mean anything. I mean, offense wins games, but we know defense wins championships, because that's the only way LeBron and them walked away with that championship last year. They had to get some stops, and they made a change on defense, and that was the difference in the game, in the series. With the Rockets season, that's just going to be the difference. If those guys do not defend as a team, do not defend individually, and do not rebound that ball, they're going to be in trouble. Harden will have great numbers again, but they'll mess around and have pretty much the identical season as last year, even without all the controversy. But we know losing brings upon meetings and finger pointing and things of that nature. Somebody becomes the reason why. But, if what we talked about earlier, James Harden buying in and showing that effort to be, just halfway committed to defending and playing, because he's capable. I watched him in some of these summer leagues battle these guys, and he defends. He doesn't want those guys to score on him, because it's an embarrassment when you're doing it that way. But he's been able to get away with it, I think, a little bit with the teams, with his teams and stuff of that nature, because he did better in Oklahoma City than he's doing here in Houston. And I don't know if that's because he has a bigger role, but I just think they're just going to have to get better defensive rebounding and defending individually.
Okay. Byron, I'm coming to you.
Okay.
Give me a key, 1, 2, or 3, whatever, however many you have that you think are going to be vital to a make or break season for the Rockets.
It's funny. He said defense, defense, defense. When you submitted these questions to me for the show, my answer was James Harden, James Harden, James Harden. Like the Dave Chappelle skit. It's like, I think it really, a major key. He has to be committed to defense and be the leader. And if he can lead, they can make it, man. If he's lax, it could break them. We know they're gonna score. Like D'Antoni teams, they make big leads, but I've seen them when they had that amazing point guard Steve Nash. I've seen them get crazy leads and blow them, burned out, and like Moochie said, for defensive purposes. So it's really going to be defense and James Harden. Lead the team in defense. Treat it like the summer leagues.
Okay. Gonzo, I'm coming to you next.
First, I'm going to say health. I think that's mostly important for every team to be successful. First, is have the health of the players. Secondly, defense, obviously. Good individual defense, good team defense. rebounding. Offensive rebound, to be specific. When they miss shots, 3-point shots, getting the offensive rebound, get it back to the shooters, get it back to James Harden so he can distribute to the shooters again. I mean, that creates more opportunities for them to score. So, I mean, and it eats up the clock. So.
Okay. Curtlow, give me it could be up to 3 keys that you think are going to make or break the Rockets this season.
First of all, would be health. Second would be defense, like you guys were talking about, because defense is going to be any team that understand this. Defense is key to championships, okay, and it's mostly team defense. If you're not rotating to the next man over that's wide open, you're going to have a problem. You're going to have a problem all season. See, mostly the defensive teams make it to the NBA Finals. That's a real big key to me, and also. I'm very interested in seeing them playing the right players. It's going to be big, very, very key to them to show them that they to put in the right players at the right time, because there's going to be a whole bunch of different matchups in there. And then if D'Antoni gets into this, I want to play Ryan Anderson at center, the Rockets are going to have a long season because somebody's got to protect the rim in this game. Mm-hmm. And rim protectors and paint protectors, they're at the highest value that they have ever been. I mean, you can shoot 30% from the free throw line and still win games because you're protecting the paint and you're protecting the rim.
Okay. Matt, give me some of your keys.
I'm just going to give 2. They've all been said, health, but I'm going to specifically say Ryan Anderson and Eric Gordon. I think they've got to stay healthy. You know, at least give me 65 games. You know, this nonsense of playing half the season and, 45. No, you got to give me 65 games. They've got to get the same thing with Pat Beverly. He's got to stay healthy. I think that's and then, of course, defense. I don't really need to touch on that much. Everybody's said what needs to be said about the D.
Okay. The only one that nobody said that I had is Mike D'Antoni. Being that voice in the locker room, being able to get the most out of James Harden, because James Harden is that team. So what he wants goes. And so Mike D'Antoni is going to have to build his rapport with James Harden, be a commanding voice in the locker room and say, look, my offensive system works. Just, trust, what I'm telling you, and being able to put guys in the correct spots. You can have guys floating on the perimeter, but Curtlow, like you said, you've got to have guys that protect the rim, because putting Ryan Anderson at the center spot, they're going to get annihilated. By other teams. And so I definitely want to see Mike D'Antoni kind of put the guys in right spots and like you said, Curtlow, play the right guys in the right situation, and I think they'll be okay. Moving to our final question of the night. Moochie, can you give me a bold prediction that you have for the Rockets this year?
Western Conference Finals.
Ooh,
that's my bold prediction. I really believe in what they can do offensively is going to be so much trouble for a lot of teams that they're going to get away with some things defensively because they're scoring a lot of points. But I just think if they put it together with the guys that they have multiple guys that can defend. And I think what you just the point that you just made was probably the biggest is can D'Antoni get those guys motivated to do the right thing, and can he put the pieces together? Can he find that chemistry that works? Because he got enough guys, and I think in every position to be able to survive, even if a guy or two goes down. I think you got some young guys coming in that come in, step in, and make some plays and do some things, because rarely does that many people get hurt every year. But just like myself, a guy goes down. Steve, and again, a perfect example is Steve goes down with a hernia, and here come Moochie Norris out of nowhere. Was able to get an opportunity to play, made some noise, beat the other guy out, and there you have it. So I think that's where we've seen that with the Rockets too, with Kyle Lowry, coming in and getting a spot due to Aaron Brooks going down. So guys go down every year. That's why we always state that. You got to be ready. You always got to be ready because opportunities happen every season. Mm-hmm. So I think that's going to be the key. Dan Antonio making the right adjustments as the season go on and getting the right chemistry and what guys play well together. And he may be deeper than most of the other teams just based on the players that he do have, because he got a lot of soldiers. He got a lot of soldiers and not a lot of captains.
Okay, Byron, I'm going to you. Give me a bold prediction.
I don't have one as bold as Mr. Norris's.
That's okay.
That's pretty bold. I don't know. I wouldn't say I had a bold prediction.
Well,
really.
give me a key prediction then. If it doesn't have to be bold, then give me something that you think could be vital to them. That's something that basically would not a regular casual fan would not kind of see as a difference maker, maybe. And I can come back to me too.
I just see them like probably like gelling more towards the end and really making a good run. I don't know about Western Conference Finals, but possibly deep in the playoffs. That's as bold as it's going to get from me today.
That's all right. Gonzo, now you already kind of threw out there earlier a little bit bold prediction, so to speak, with the number 3 spot. Do you got another one?
I could kind of get 2 in 1. I agree with Moochie on this one. Hey, Western Conference Finals, I can see it happening. If they get a 3 seed, I think the way I got the teams kind of bracketed or stationed 1 through 8, it's a possibility it could get to that Western Conference Finals.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, my second part of my prediction is going to be James Harden, unanimous MVP.
Unanimous.
Wow.
Yes.
That's
I like
bold.
that. I like that.
From Houston?
I like that.
Are you from Houston? I think you're the one from Houston.
No, but I feel like the Rockets because I've always been a dream. So
I like that. I like that.
Matt, what's your bold prediction?
Hey, this would be bold for me because I was gonna go Rockets finish 5th and make it to the second round. They take out Oklahoma City in the first round of the playoffs. Harden outduels Westbrook.
Okay.
But then they got to play Golden State or San Antonio, and I don't know if they beat either of those teams. We'll see. If it's Golden State, no way.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know how bold this is, but and I'm gonna probably get killed for this, but I'm throwing it out bold. I got to throw something out there. Houston is the number 1 offensive team, highest points per game.
I see that
over the Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't bold. That ain't bold.
That's not bold.
Hey, you know what though? Hey, that can count because everybody's going to expect Golden State to score all, but I think it's going to take Golden State some time.
Yeah,
they're going to have some. You saw it against Toronto in that first. They're going to have some ugly moments.
You're right. Yeah. I got a bold prediction.
Okay.
I say Matthew becomes a Rockets fan. I mean, he was born in Houston. He's the only person I know born in Houston, but has so much hatred for the Rockets. I mean, he didn't even want Hakeem to get his first ring against the Knicks. I'm like, how can you hate on Elijah?
I don't hate. I didn't know you then, Byron. I don't remember saying that. I was just. You got to understand. I was just so mad when the Bulls lost to the Knicks that year. Oh man.
We need to get Hakeem on the podcast, and I'm gonna tell him that too.
Good luck with that, Byron. Yeah. So Curtlow, we're finishing the show out with you. So give me a bold prediction that you've got for the Rockets this season. It doesn't matter if it's the team or a player, or it could be a combo.
Yeah, let me apologize. Let me tell y'all something, man. Never buy a refurbished phone from somebody off the street because
oh man. Hey, that's the truth though.
That's how I know he's from Houston. That's how I know. That's Houston. That's Houston all day long. That's how I know he's really from Houston. Only in Houston, Texas.
It's all good, Curtlow.
That's good. That's good.
What's your prediction, good, man?
This is the thing, man. The bold prediction. I'm with Moochie Norris. I'm not as high as the Western Conference Finals. I have to see more before I say that. But bold prediction. I would say the fourth best team in the NBA. I'm very excited about this team, and if they can keep it together, like I said, man, and guys play together and they like playing with each other, that's a bold statement to say because, like you said, everybody has the Rockets finishing out of the playoff, which is the most disrespectful thing I've ever heard. You know what I mean? Can I get an analyst from Houston or something? It's always New York and you know. And you got a guy like Moochie Norris that knows what he's talking about and on these big time programs. You know what I mean? Bring Vernon Maxwell down so I can actually believe somebody that's been watching the Rockets. You know, all of a sudden they wanted to jump on the bandwagon where they beat the Knicks. So let's go ahead and just, oh man, they blew them out. Oh, I'm jumping on the Rockets now. You know what I mean? Where were you when you were playing the other teams? You know what I mean? You know, that's my bold prediction. I believe the Rockets are going to be the fourth best NBA team from what I've seen so far. And I believe it.
Okay. Nice. Well, fellas, that wraps us up for tonight. So first, Moochie, I want to thank you so much for being on the show with us. Former NBA player, of course, and like I said, beloved Houston Rockets. So I want to give you a chance. Let people know where they can find you. Also, behind that, let people know kind of what you're doing now. You've got a lot of good stuff going, so let the people know about it. I think we might have lost.
Nah, he's still there.
He's there, but it froze.
Yeah, froze. So we'll go back to him. Curtlow, I'm going to go to you. Thank you too for being on, man. It's a pleasure to have you on. Many a times, as I told you before the show, catching you on Sirius XM and just calling in and giving your insight. Definitely entertaining and you're a very insightful guy. So we really enjoyed having you. But give everybody, let everybody know where to find you, and then give everybody kind of a little bit of background of what you got going on.
Well, basically, I was a former collegiate scout back when I was younger. So I've got the eye for talent, but I worked for fan-sided for Space City Scoop, which is a local thing in Houston, Texas, that's still growing as we speak. And also, you can catch me on B-Ball Breakdown, which is Coach Nick on his podcast. So we do one every 3 or 4 months. So and we go over the Rockets. Also, you can catch me on Twitter at SWHtown, HTOWN 30. And meeting with fans. Listen, I follow all Rocket fans. And if you come over there hating on James Harden, you get
So I want to just roll through the panel for those that are listening on the iTunes podcast and not viewing us on YouTube. So Byron, I want to go to you. Let everybody know where they can find you, and let everybody know kind of what you got. I know you got some projects going on. If you want to reveal those, go for it. If not, that's okay too.
You can find me on Instagram at RadRem, RADREMM, and that's also my Twitter name. And then, sometimes I post music that I make and that I'm working on when I'm in the studio. I'm a songwriter. Yeah. I also have a YouTube channel called The Rad Habits, all one word, THERADHABITS. Subscribe. There'll be some more content later on, soon, and then you might see me acting in something soon.
Nice. All right, Gonzo, let the people know where they can find you.
You can reach me on Twitter at DJ Gonzo Star.
Yeah. So Gonzo's a big Madden gamer and 2K gamer. So check his timeline, see what's going on. He'll give you the real scoop on what's going on with 2K or sometimes lack thereof, as well as Madden. So Matt, let the people know where they can find you.
Well, first, before I get into that, I got to say, go Cubs, go! Game 1's on right now, 0-0. So as soon as we get off here, you know what I have to do. Yeah. But y'all can find me on Twitter at MeekMill1981.
Yeah, awesome. All right. Everybody can find me Twitter at Pete Toll, PETETOAL. And that segues us into letting everybody know, please, please, please go check out the replay of this show as well as our other podcasts. You can download us on iTunes. Go to podcast, Unquestionably Raw Podcast. We're there. We ranked, in the 70s today, which is a big accomplishment for the podcast. We're very proud of kind of where we've gotten so fast and humbled by it, too, that so many listeners out there enjoy us. So we're going to keep bringing you the content week after week and hope you still enjoy listening. So go to our YouTube page. You can subscribe to it. You can like the video. Same with iTunes. Subscribe to the channel. Leave us a 5-star review. We don't have any reviews up there. We really want to know what people's comments are on the actual social media sites, because hitting me up in my DMs is great, but it doesn't do much for our reviews to get people to kind of push and listen and get us further exposure in the NBA basketball world. And real quick, I want to segue in. We don't have a timetable for when the first show is going to be, but Byron is actually going to take over the Unquestionably Raw Entertainment podcast, which is going to be separate from the NBA, but it's a joint venture, part of the Unquestionably Raw brand, and talking all things entertainment, whether it's music, movies, you name it. So definitely look out for that coming soon. And then finally, letting everybody know kind of what we have on tap. Saturday night, we're doing a doubleheader, which is tomorrow evening, doubleheader season preview show. First, we're doing the LA Clippers at 5 p.m. Eastern. Following that will be the New Orleans Pelicans at 6 p.m. Eastern. So hope everybody enjoyed this Rockets preview. Again, thanks to Moochie Norris and Curtlow for coming on with us. And until tomorrow night, see you guys then.